JavaScript transform.
So, hello everyone, welcome to the Lab workshop. WEBITECTURE is the online 4 days workshop as a part of Digital Futures 2021. I'm very happy to see you here. We have 2 streams in Zoom and YouTube, so I kindly ask you to write in chats if everything is okay. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Just you can write ++ or something like this. So just let me know that you can hear me and see. So in Zoom, everything is okay. See, and we're waiting for YouTube viewers. Any information? Yeah, in Zoom, I see. Yeah, thank you guys. So I think everything is okay, and I can go ahead. And if you joined YouTube, please write where you're from and your background in architecture as well. It will be good to know. Oh, we have everything's fine. Yeah, everything is fine. Yeah, cool. So my name is Alina Chileyska, and here is my colleague Stepan Kucharski. We are architects and founders of SA Lab. SA Lab is an up-and-coming architectural firm from St. Petersburg, Russia. We are focused on developing an adaptive approach in architecture using computational design and digital fabrication. I want to share my screen. Yeah. Like this. Oops. Yeah. The name of the workshop is WEBITECTURE, and first of all, I'd like to describe what we do. For the next 4 days, we will develop a web application to play with discrete or modular architecture. We will cover the basics of modeling in Blender, coding with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and more. And I guess good news that this app will work on any device. And I reckon it's quite inclusive and makes sense in our dynamic times that you can use any device, not just your laptop, for example. In the description, we had this example. It's a way that your app will look like, and we will play with geometry, with app, so you can add something, you can transform and put together like different structures. Can we better more position? Yeah. And we called it WEBITECTURE because we'd like to explore architecture not just like a static physical space or shape, but something flexible and hybrid. Nowadays we live in between the digital and physical worlds, and therefore the trick is how should architecture deal with new rules and this digital landscape. In addition, it's interesting to mix architecture and web design to investigate other tools for architects. So another example. We will have 4 days and 3 hours per day for tutorials. The first one is for an introduction in Blender. As the result of today, you will have geometry to put it in the app. The second day is for HTML and CSS. We will work on glitch.com, and by the end of the day, we will get the app the way it will look like for users. The third day is for JavaScript and put together all parts and add some magic to get it on air. And the last day is for question and answers, for presentations, and yeah, for final presentation of your work. The records of the workshop will be available on the CLab YouTube channel, so you will have time to watch again something that you can miss and think it's nice. Also, we have different chats like in YouTube now, in Zoom, in Discord, so feel free to ask any questions. We will answer as soon as possible. As the result of the workshop, we expect to see all your great apps and we're gonna present it on the final exhibition of Digital Futures. As well, it will be really nice to see your work in progress, so you can tag us on Instagram to share your process, and it's nice to see. Now, I'm going to jump into an introduction part. As you know, everyone could apply for workshops during Digital Futures. We got around 80 applications from around the world. And unfortunately, we had a chance to pick around 20, and we were really surprised by seeing your high skills levels and background, and you can see this all these countries right on the screen. So it's so great that students here from different countries and now have a small part of introduction, and I'd like to ask our students to introduce themselves for 1 or 2 minutes speech. Maybe you would like to share with us your expectation from this workshop, your background, your project, something. And please do not forget to switch on your camera if you have, and press unmute, and we will go one by one. And the first one will be
me.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the first one, so I will share my expectations from this workshop. I really think that this is going to be a very intense workshop in terms of the topics that we have to cover, because we're going to create a web application in 4 days, actually in 3 days. And our live YouTube translations and our Zoom meetings are going to be dedicated to different parts of software that we need to master to create this web app. And I'm really looking forward to working with you, to meeting you, and to answering your questions and helping you to create this web app. Well, these are my expectations. So the next one, let me just write in chat one by one the order of people introducing themselves. And the next one is Andrei Kustov, please. Andrei, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
I guess I may have some problems with sound, or is it okay?
It's okay.
Oh, okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Andrei. I'm a student of 3rd year of architecture from St. Petersburg Mining University. I'm really interested in the intersection of architecture with other spheres of our life. So I'm really looking forward for this workshop. And I'm looking forward to learning some new stuff and just to have a good time. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. So the next one we have, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name not the way it is supposed to be pronounced, because I just read it for the first time in my life. So the next person I see is Majo Romero. Please turn on your mic because you're muted right now.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Nice. Hello.
My name is Maria, but I go by Majo. And I'm originally from Venezuela, but I'm a fourth-year architecture studying in the United States in Florida right now. And I guess like the reason why I chose architecture was because I had a lot of influence from my aunt and my cousins who are architects in my country of origin. And you know, I really like anything that has to do with architecture, so I'm really excited about this workshop.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Nice to meet you. And Jacob, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob, or Jacob, as you like. I'm from Moscow, Russia. So I work in exhibition design and landscape. First of all, I'd like to thank Stefan and Alina for this interesting workshop, because I feel that the time has changed and the digital sphere of our life getting more and more, and we need to get along with that. And the idea of architecture seems very fresh for me, and I'd like to get some skills from the next few days.
Okay, Jacob, thank you. There seems to be some problems with the sound. So in case you are experiencing some difficulties, you can text us or message us in the chat. And the next person I see is named Alex SM. It would be great if you could rename yourself in Zoom with your real names, not your nicknames, as it would be easier for me to communicate with you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Alexey. I have a bachelor's degree in architecture. I continue to study for master's degree. I am interested in computer software, visualization, in architecture. I expect a lot of useful information for and experience from the workshop.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Next one is Angelis Franco.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to show my images in case I don't understand my English, but I see I'm talked. Bueno, I'm Ángeles. I'm from Argentina, Ledesma, Cuy. I'm an architect and I'm based in Universidad Nacional de Tucumán. And I'm now wait a moment. Sí, me cuesta. Bueno, I'm based in working Tucumán, recently graduated from a National University of Tucumán. Bueno, I was developing my thesis in technology, art, and education. I reconsidered my professional contribution in the, o más bien decir, how we can ask architect, create new words, and transmit a knowledge. I work as a computational designer using big methodology and parametric design, inspired by fractal design and programming of 2D and 3D visual. Well, I'm currently an assistant professor at the System Laboratory of Unity. Más o menos. I'm finished.
Oh, okay. Sounds just great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is Daniel. Daniel?
Hi. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. So thank you very much for making the workshop. The topic is very interesting. I haven't done something like that before, and the fact that you mixed architecture with the web design caught my interest. So that's why I'm mainly I'm here. So if you ask from where what's my background, now I'm based in Berlin, finishing my master studies. And where do I come from? Eastern Europe, as other people here, I heard. More exactly, Moldavia. I have no idea if you know where is that. It's next to Romania. And yeah, looking forward what you're gonna show to us. And yeah, let's see where it goes, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I missed an opportunity. Next person is Divya G. Let me text this.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Divya and I'm from India, Mumbai. I'm pursuing my architecture from NMIM School of Architecture, and I'm in my 4th year currently. And I really hope to have a great time with you guys and learn a lot from the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are so quick. Ekaterina Reisbich, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for the possibility to take part in this. Sorry, I didn't speak English for a long time, and I think I will remember.
Okay. It's okay.
So I would like to say that I'm following your works in Instagram and in YouTube, and it's just amazing. So for me, it's a very happy day today to take part in this. I myself, I'm architect, but I have nothing to do with this modern things like parametric and something like that. And I even didn't ever try this program that you showed there that we should prepare. But I hope and I expect that I can improve my knowledge today and the next days. And I hope it will be possible to understand even from my level. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Nice challenge.
Yeah, nice challenge. True.
So the next one is Jonas. Jonas, are you here?
I presume it's me.
Yes.
It's quite a common name. So, okay, so I'm Jonas White, I like to call myself. I'm originally from Belgium, but I've been living now for on and off 3 years in Zurich, in Switzerland. So I would say I'm a developer that studied architecture, or am I an architect who learned to program? I don't know, somewhere in between. So I did a master in architecture back in Belgium. After that, I worked for 1.5 years in an office in Belgium with a main focus on parametric design. because of my interest for parametric design and thinking how it could go further, I decided to do a postgraduate at the ETH here in Zurich on digital fabrication. And since finishing a degree, which was already now nearly 2 years ago, I've been collaborating with multiple artists on some ecological arts, but I've mostly been working actually as a proof of concept developer on solving design problems that relate to automatization in design. And yeah, I also started teaching a little bit this year in parametric design to architecture students in Python.
Okay, cool. Sounds like you're pretty experienced. So...
Yeah, nice background. I hope you will do something new, actually.
I'm really glad that I can partake in this course because my background is mostly, like, I would say backend. So mostly, C#, Java, Python, and I started JavaScript like 4 months ago when I started with shader development. And I never really did a project before with JavaScript, like a real project. So I'm really looking forward to this one actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And the next person is Catherine, just Catherine.
I think it's me. Hello, everybody. I'm from Russia. I got my bachelor's degree in architecture last year, and now I'm working as an architect in local architectural bureau. Yet I'm still enjoy learning new things and really enthusiastic about interaction here and can't wait to start learning new things. Thank you for such an opportunity.
Oh, thank you for joining.
Yeah, cool. The next person is Kirill Kostiev. Kirill?
Hi, everyone. Sorry if I speak not fluently, but I try, yeah. My name is Kirill, I'm from Moscow. Currently, I work as an architect for my own. I have graduated from the Institute of Contemporary Art. Through my professional career, I have been designing private and public interiors, developing furniture and equipment, design and building house using environmental material. I decided to join to workshops because I really enjoy that Solab create and think, and I think that your studio is a right way to the future of architecture. So this my point of view, and thank you for opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for your kind words, and I hope you will find something really useful for you, because I think this app really suitable for creating, for example, furniture kits and some small scale and big scale too. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you too. Yeah.
Thank you. Next person, please, Olesya.
Hello, everyone. I'm a Master of Architecture from Russia, and it's great to be here, actually. For me, it's a perfect opportunity to check my personal skills, of course. And why I'm here, in my opinion, idea of inclusive design process based on 3 things: the data scientist, game design. I'm work in game design right now, so it's for me it's really interesting, and architecture. Also, I believe that tools that game design use in their production can be used in this architecture and inclusive design process. And I'm very excited to learn something like that. I believe someone understands me. So thank you very much again.
Okay, thank you for your brief introduction. That's really great to know you and meeting you like this via Zoom. Pablo, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Well, hello, I'm Pablo. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I'm currently enrolled in the design program at Universidad de los Andes. And I'm like really excited about this course because I'm really interested in mainly in interaction design, and I think that building these web applications like as tools for designers and architects is really powerful. And also I like to include this, like the result of this, in my portfolio to keep growing it. And yeah, very happy to be here, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you. Next person is Kisun, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I'm mistaken.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Qi Sun. I'm from China mainland, and I'm from Tianjin University. My major is architecture, and I'm going to graduate in 2022. And I want to apply for a master's degree in user experience design. So I'm very interested in interaction design, and I'm very happy to be here. I want to learn some. Yeah, I hope to learn some tips for making websites and uh, and the ability of like storytelling between architecture and interaction design. And thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you here today. And the next one, please. It's really hard to pronounce. Could
Hello.
you pronounce your name?
Yes, it's Sepide.
Okay.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity for this workshop. My name is Sepide, I'm from Iran. I'm a master degree student on computational design, and my thesis is on procedural assemblies. And when I was scrolling down through the Digital Futures workshops, I was very glad to find this proposal you gave, because I've been searching around different platforms to find the best for my thesis, and my main focus on my master degree was just modeling with Grasshopper, Rhino 3D, and Python programming language. But I hope I'll find the JavaScript and the platforms that are defined in this workshop to help me just get along with my thesis, and I'm very glad to be part of this workshop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sounds great. Vitaly, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Firstly, thank you for this workshop. My name is Vitaly. I'm originally from Armenia, but I've lived in Russia for about 20 years, and I work here. So I graduated from University of Architecture 1 year ago, and in the last year, I was learning a bit about connection between architecture and digital. I think it's relevant, especially nowadays. So that's why I'm here. And speaking about my expectations, I just want to learn new skills. That's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Nice to have you here. Next one is Wong, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, perfect.
Hi. All right. I'm Wang Yi. You can call me Wang, and I am an architecture student from China, and I'm now learning at Zhejiang University. I think I'm really interested in setting up websites or just design for some webs or apps. So I'm really glad to have the chance to meet you guys here, and I hope we can all have very good experience in this workshop. And I am now actually struggling in my final weeks, but I will try my best. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Ksenia.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello all. My name is Ksenia. I'm from Russia. I live in St. Petersburg, and I'm an architect. And I'm working at the local design bureau. Right now, my additional interest is to study the impact of social and cultural virtualization on physical space and architecture. I'm learning to create virtual spaces and environments. Interested in digital art and science. So I follow informational and practical projects on the verge of science and art. This workshop is an opportunity to learn a bunch of different programs and methods to create design objects. I hope that some of the techniques I can use for my project and research. And thank you guys for unique education projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next one. Could you please introduce yourself? I'm so afraid to make a mistake pronouncing your name.
Hi everyone, my name is Xiaoye Qing.
Hi.
Hello. I did my undergrad in major in telecommunication engineering in Shenyang Jianzhu University in Northeast China. Then I just completed my Master of Architecture degree in the University of California at Berkeley. I also interested in the user interface design. So thanks for letting me join in the this workshop. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Next one, please. Zi Chao, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello, could you
Hello.
hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
The pronouns of my name may be Ye Zichao, maybe some difficult for English person. I come from Zhejiang University as well, and this is my first year on my master degree. I'm very interested in about computational design and interactive design, but we are traditionally do more work with software like Rhino or Revit, with script like C# or Python. But this workshop we will use some tools to do web development. That's the point that interests me the most. And for the Blender, this is a very new software, I think, for most architecture. I think it's also a very useful new skill that I want to learn for this workshop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Zoe. Zoe, are you here? Can you hear us? Okay, Zoe is away for some reason. Sofia Domina.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well, my name is Sofia Domina, or Sophie, or Sonia.
Okay.
For short. Well, I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia. Now I'm work as the architect in international company, and so I really into in the sorry for that. I'm stressful. And it's
Have fun. We're here for, I don't know, past exams or something like this. Just feel free to make mistakes and yeah, enjoy.
I really into in the architecture as everyone in this room. Well, a digital actually sounds like something new for me, and I decided to take part in this workshop. So I would like to refresh my knowledges in Blender and get new skills, especially in coding, because it's hard for me. Well, thank you for this opportunity, and so I think it will be great.
Okay, cool. Nice to have you here.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Right. Hello.
Hello.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad to see everyone. Alina and Stepan separate greeting. I'm little morning. My name is Salihan. I'm from Kazakhstan. I'm an architect. I love drawing, photography, and of course design. I would like to start by saying that I saw Stepan's course on the Live Academy.tv website. Okay. And hope to sign up for a course in the near future. And I'm very inspired by his work and what he teaches, and I'm very happy to participate in this event. And it is damn cool to be here to get knowledge from you. At the moment, I understand the importance of learning programming, creating websites and new spaces in new reality for architects. I think that on this course, I will get a lot of new knowledge in this area. I tried to work in Blender and even create some models by repeating tutorial on YouTube. I confess I had no idea that there was such a site, glitch.com. I read a little information about the site. I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you. And we have Zoe back. Zoe, can you hear us?
Hello. Hi guys.
Hello.
I'm Zoe, and I'm from China. I'm a sophomore majored in electronic information engineering. I'm very interested in interactive technology. So thank you for giving me a chance to join your workshop. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I missed people named iPad and MacBook Pro. I'm not sure if these are just somebody else, or maybe someone is using several devices. So did I miss someone? Anybody wants to introduce themselves? Okay. So if nobody else here to introduce, that's nice and great to meet you all, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being here. This is also a bit stressful for us, but I guess these 4 days are gonna be fun and great, and we'll have a lot of great time together. So next, please, Alina.
Yeah, next part is I'm going to I'm going to show some projects. The SLab projects, maybe to inspire you. I don't know, maybe it's too much, but who knows? So, SLab is focused on developing an adaptive approach in architecture, creating space that are open to transformations and changes in time. Well, I'm going to show some SLab projects of a different scale to explain the idea and to represent a practical way of what we will do during the workshop and about an adaptive approach in architecture. We use modules in different projects because it helps to change easily architecture with different scenarios. And playing with the geometry and the number of modules will give you many options. So the first project is called Convergence. We used only 2 types of flat modules. Oops, yeah. Like this one and like this one, and we built with them a pavilion. It's pretty movable. All modules fit in a cart trunk. The pavilion changed allocation, structure, and scale more than 3 times. It was an urban pavilion, an installation on the beach, and a part of fashion shooting. So yeah, it's pretty flexible, but really easy with it's really easy to work with these flat modules. The second project is SET. The pavilion consists of 95 modules, and the total length of roads used for its construction is almost 1 kilometer. The module can be enlarged and used for small architectural forms as well as for barren structures. We can choose, like this. We can choose different materials such as metal, wood, or recycled plastic, and play with scale and function. As you can see on the facade, and it looks like a kit. You have just one module and you have a set of variations with it. And the next project is Open Platform, Open Residence. It's the concept of transformation of the Russian pavilion at the Venice Biennale into a cross-disciplinary residence. Artists, scientists, architects, researchers, and others could live there for some weeks to work together, communicate, and create something epic. It was a proposal for an open call, and unfortunately, our proposal, we didn't win, but actually I love this idea so much, so I want to share with you guys. And here we use the bigger models, it's like this, and using these bigger models, we wanted to create a pop-up space around the pavilion. Pavilion is and it should be, like a wave between the garden, between the pavilion, and it should be really movable like this, like really flexible. It's formed using a natural algorithm for the growth of living organisms, cellular automata. It's like a wave moving in time. It can occupy different area and be programmed for many scenarios. For the period of using a studio, for example, they will accommodate workplaces, bar, discussion platform, places for prototypes, meeting places, lounge zones, open cinema, and more. So you can play with this idea as you wish. And some pics. Another project is a touristic cluster in Iceland, and we're still working on it. The landscape is so unique, and the concept was aimed at protecting soil and creating a new experience for visitors. We use local materials and construction methods, identity features, and innovative materials to skip the long building process and make fewer footprints. On the site, we came up with the idea to use prefabricated CLT panels. And yes, then we can, we can combine flat CLT panels into a 3-dimensional module. And then the next step is just put together all parts into buildings of different scales. Like you can create a cabin, a lodge, a hotel, a cafe, and more. So you can play with this in different ways. And in the meantime, it looks really like a cabin, like a building. And on these pictures, you see a cabin with a panoramic view on the ground, sky, and environment. And it works just like a Lego, and you can put new details and make something new. And one more project, also with modules. It's called Paths and Valleys. It's an all-season urban park. It was conceived to preserve the existing landscape. That's why we propose to make a minimal architectural intervention. As one part of it, there is a modular path, wooden path. It's like this. And yeah, okay. And on the one hand, it helps with the step-by-step development of the site. It's easy to add or remove modules according to their design and construction features. But on the other hand, the path protects visitors from the winds, forming functional zones in 2 or 3 levels. On the scheme here, you can see these 2 types and different options. And yeah, some examples with programming. In this project, the path is used not only to connect the parts of the park, but also as a, for example, playground here, or viewpoints, or promenade, or public space, and more. And I guess the final one is a really digital project. It should have been a year ago. We were designing pop-up public spaces with scenes in Moscow and St. Petersburg for a science and technology festival when the pandemic time happened. And luckily, the organizers saw this crisis as an opportunity, and the festival jumped from an offline format to online format. So our concept was to represent architecture in the digital space. Being constrained in the physical world by materials, construction technologies, budgets, and more, in virtual space, it could be anything, like really anything. And we did 2 pavilions, the pink one and the blue one, as video games to involve visitors. They consist of different modules using cellular automata approach, and everyone had a chance to make the virtual work investigating architecture. So you can see here, like in the pink, it's pretty simple, but here we add some stairs and some funny details. The participants could spontaneously change direction and expand the learning experience in a world that denies physical laws. There are short movies about the pavilion on the SALab website. Also, you can see, also you can still explore them in the desktop version with this QR code. So if you wish, you can check it after the workshop, or yeah, maybe a little bit later. And I think this project, it bridges between architecture and game design to demonstrate what the digital space can offer to people and to architects. And what's next? In conclusion, there are different ways to use a modular approach in architecture. You can play with scale, geometry, color, materials, connections, functions, and more. It's just up to you. What we expect from you by the end, it's a story and it's an app. You can create, for example, as I mentioned before, furniture kit, public space, urban blog, or whatever. We just want to hear your voice and see your ideas. Yeah. So I think this part is over. If you have some questions.
I don't see any questions on YouTube. I don't see any questions in Zoom chat.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. The project was very interesting. I have a question for designing the kits. Through designing the kits, can the modules be different from each other? I mean, we don't use a unique module for all the process of making the whole scenario.
Well, you can create modules any shape you want. So they can be different. You can create like 3, 4, 5 different modules. I will explain you how to prepare the models for web browsers, how to upload them, how to use them on your web page, and so on and so on. What I would recommend for now, since we are just beginning and just to make this work easier for you, is to stick your modules to a rectangular grid, so that you don't use like a triangle grid or like hexagonal grid for them to combine. Just try to use rectangular grid for modules to combine with each other. And
Okay,
within a rectangular grid, no limits. They can be square, they can be round, they can be smooth or low poly, whatever you wish.
Thank you.
Because, yeah, in practice, basically we use 2, maybe 3 types of modules, because it's easy to construct, and for fabrication it's also cheaper than, you know, create thousands of types, and it's just a little bit away from modular approach. So yeah, I think I will recommend you to maybe choose 1, 2, maybe 3 types and play with direction, connections, maybe color. It will be, I think, really interesting. Yeah. So if we have no connection, no, I mean, no questions. Yeah. Maybe, well, if you have some questions later, you can just write in chat and I will answer you there. And now we will have a 5-minute coffee break or tea. So we will back to start a part with Blender. It will be run by Stepan. And I will join you tomorrow to show some stuff about CSS and HTML. And I hope you guys will have a good time, actually. And I see you tomorrow. Take care, have fun, and Stepan will see you in 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start the demonstration now. I will turn off my mic and my video, but I will not stop the YouTube. So I will be back in 5 minutes for those, oh my God, 7 people that are watching us live on YouTube. Okay. Hello, everyone. We are back here. So, are you ready to begin, guys? Ready. Okay. Everyone is ready. Everyone is having Blender on computer. I'm not really sure that you should like try to recreate everything I do on your computers. Probably the best way for now is just like open Blender and try to look at what I'm doing, but not repeating it, just like just watch, and you will have this Zoom recording available and this live YouTube translation also available as soon as we finish, and then you can like rewatch and try to make everything in a more relaxed way, because I will try to give you as much material, as much information as I can, and maybe it will be too quick just to follow me along and repeat everything in Blender on your computer. So, okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will try to answer. I will do my best. So, let me share my screen back again. Okay, so basically this is the app that we are going to make. We are going to have different parts. We are going to create a simple user interface for this. We are going to upload our parts in a web browser and then drag them around, rotate them, and make whatever you need. So first of all, today I will ask you to make a decision on what kind of app are you going to make. Now this one is rather abstract. We just have some abstract parts here and we don't know the scale of the structure we are trying to assemble. There is no context or something like this. So just try to imagine what are you going to do. A skyscraper consisting of modular apartments, for example. Or this is a pavilion that consists of some modular parts and it's a smaller scale. Or you're going to create some landscape features and maybe a modular bench or some modular furniture, street furniture, or maybe something else. Just think about it, what you want to create. And okay, let's go to Blender. Why Blender? Because Blender is super handy in preparing your geometry for web browsers. It has some cool features like UV unwrapping and exporting in GLTF format. What we are going to use for our web app is GLTF files or GLB files. You can create actually the 3D models in any software you wish. You can use Rhino, Grasshopper, you can use 3ds Max, Maya, but then you're gonna need to export those 3D models that you create, import them to Blender, and prepare them for your web browser in Blender. I will start modeling from scratch. And okay, I have Blender version 2.93. This is supposed to be the latest version available. If you go to blender.org, this is the version available for download here. I hope you already have it. And look at this animation here of this text. It changes colors. Really interesting. Probably if we have enough time, we will try to recreate something like this in our web app. So when you open Blender, this is the first time you open your Blender, you have an image like this. You can choose your language. I will stick to English. Blender has a lot of different shortcuts and short keys. And you can like choose some setups here. Just leave it Blender for now so that we all have the same environment. Left, right, this means like with which button of your mouse are you going to select objects. You can leave it left and select objects with left mouse on the button, or you can use right mouse on the button, I don't know, button of the mouse, okay, sorry, right mouse button, okay, let it be like this. If you're convenient with this, spacebar means what are you going to do with your spacebar. Usually it starts playing the animation, but you can tune these setups here, and of course change the theme of the Blender. You can use the dark, light mode, anything you want. I will leave it everything as it is right now, and just click somewhere in a free space. And okay, I forgot to make one thing. Let me stop the demonstration for now. And I need to run a special tool for you to see which buttons I press and what I'm doing on my screen. Okay, let me be. Okay, and okay, now we are back and you're supposed to see my mouse. You're supposed to see the buttons that I press. I hope it's going to be easier for you to follow. Okay, when you're open, you have like a basic scene setup here. You have a cube, you have a light here, and you have a camera. You have a lot of folders and tabs here. The first one is file. It's like save, save as, export, import, and so on. Edit, just to make undos, redos, and stuff like this. Render is to start your rendering. If you want to render an image, if you want to render an animation, view the last render that you made, view the last animation that you made. Window is for creating new windows over here, if I'm not mistaken, and you have this help option here. Then you have a tab named layout, which is active now. This is mostly the tab where you're going to add different objects, move them around, and work with them. Modeling tool lets you, well, this is basically a tab for modeling, but it has the same options as layout right now. You can set up those. If you select an object and then go back to modeling, okay, this will turn on this edit mode so that you could work with your geometry. I will talk about it a bit later. Sculpting tab is for really fine tuning of your 3D models, like I'm not sure if it's gonna work with cube, but probably if I add a sphere somewhere here, sculpting, okay. Okay, so mostly sculpting is used for creating like super detailed objects. Like for example, you want to create a dragon head and you want to sculpt all those muscles on his head, his nostrils, and his skin and stuff like that. That's why you're gonna use sculpting. UV editing tool, we are going to use it, and this is used for creating UV unwraps and how your model is composed, how the polygons of your model are composed and attached to each other. Texture painting, you can like paint over your objects, creating different kind of textures. I'm not sure if we're gonna cover this part. Shading is mostly used to tune the materials that you use. Animation is for creating animations. Rendering, this is where you're going to see your render image or video. Compositing is used for tuning your final render. You can add different kind of effects like glare, bloom, and so on. And the geometry nodes is a new feature that is available in Blender version 2.92, starting from this version. And I'm going to show you a bit what's going on here. And then the scripting tab, you can use Python inside of Blender to create your 3D geometry. We are not going to touch it during our classes right now. So let's go back to our scene, our layout tab, and we have a cube. We have, let me move this panel a bit. Okay. We have all the information about the objects that we have in our scene here on the right. This window here shows you everything that you have in your scene. In Blender, all the objects are combined within collections. You can think about them as groups. You can put your objects in different collections, like grouping them in different groups. The same logic here. You can create new collections, just like right click, create new collection, and then when you add geometry here, you can put it in these different collections. You can rename them, and for example, you're modeling a building and you can have a collection with like, I don't know, furniture, separate collection with windows, for example, 3D geometry of windows, separate collection with lights across, located around you, across your building, and so on. You can click on those parts over here in any window, and you can change what you want to see. You can like create 3D viewport and have another 3D viewport here. You can move those windows and tune your interface. What is shown here initially is, let me go back. Outliner, yeah, outliner. And the next button over here to the right, here you can click like scenes, for example, and you're gonna see everything that you have in your scene. What collections you have, what objects, materials, lights, etc., etc. You're gonna see a lot of different information here. And this part over here is used for different kind of setups. For example, if I click on my cube here, it's highlighted with this orange outline. Then you can see the location of this cube, the rotation of this cube along different axes, and the scale of it. For example, if I change location with X over here, it will move, or I can change the location along Y-axis over here. And Blender has a lot of different shortcuts. For example, to move the objects around the scene, I can just press G on my keyboard and I can move this cube around the scene. If I press like an axis, then like X, for example, I will move this cube just along the X axis. If I press Y, I will move it along Y axis. If I press Z or Z, I will move it up and down. Okay, and further on, I can type on my keyboard like move it 5 meters above and press enter, and now my cube is 5 meters above the ground level, and you can see it in this panel over here to the right. So the same thing for rotation. You just hit R on your keyboard and you can rotate your cube around. You can choose a special axis that you want to rotate your object around. Y, for example, okay, like 50 degrees around Y, and then rotate 180 degrees around Z axis, for example. Just press R, then Z, and then the degrees. The degrees that you're typing are seen in the lower and the left upper corner of your screen. You can see a small text here saying rotation, then the number of degrees that you entered with your keyboard, and then press enter and everything will be fine. Or you can use backspace to change the numbers that you enter, like this, and your cube is rotated. Okay, so, and you can bring everything back with this panel over here. The third option is scale here, and the scale is controlled with S button on your keyboard. Just press S and then move your mouse and your object will be getting bigger or smaller. Oh my gosh, it's too big. Okay, and of course you can use the axis along. You can scale it along the x-axis only, or along y-axis only, or along z-axis only. Depends on what you want to do. Okay. Then how do we add or remove objects, for example? Well, to remove, you just hit delete and it's deleted. To add, you can press Shift A and you will have this pop-up menu over here. The menu is named Add, or you can just press this Add button over here and you will have a menu where you can add any objects you want. So what do we have in this menu? We have meshes that we can add to our scene, like plane, cube, circle, actually it's just a line, not a mesh, spheres, two types of spheres, cylinder, cone, torus, and the monkey. The peculiar characteristic of Blender is that in almost every version of Blender since the beginning they had this monkey head, and this monkey has a name. Her name is Suzanne. You can see it here in your scene collection tab. And if I add like a sphere, for example, a sphere is just a sphere. I added an ecosphere and it's named ecosphere, but when you add a monkey, her name is Suzanne. This is funny part over here. Okay, so I don't need a monkey, let's delete it. Okay, then we have curves. We can create curves here. We can create like metaballs, for example. Okay, metaball, okay. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, you can add another metaball and move it here, and Blender will create these soft shapes. Oh, automatically. And then you can move them around and design the shape that you want with metaballs. Okay. Then of course you can add 3D text if you want. You can add armature if you want to animate your characters. For example, you're modeling a video game character, or you're creating a 3D movie and you need your character to move, to walk, to jump, and so on. And he will be animated using this thing. And of course, there are lights, cameras, some forces, speakers, and a lot of other different stuff. Basically, what you need to understand for now is how to add objects and what to do next. Let me add a cube, for example. Let it be a cube. Now Blender has different modes to work with object. Now we are in object mode. It is written over here in the top left corner, object mode. This is the mode when you add different objects and you just like move them around, rotate, scale, and make these basic transformations. If you hit tab on your keyboard, you're going to change to edit mode. Here you can transform your object in many more ways. For example, you can extrude your object. These are the extra button that you get when you switch to edit mode. You can extrude part of your objects, you can inset them, and so on and so on. Now in edit mode, you have you can control different aspects of your 3D model. You can control vertices, for example, and this is highlighted with this button over here. You can switch to edges and for example, okay, let's go back to vertices. If I select one vertex and I move it around, I get something like this. If I switch to edges, you can switch between those options with numbers on your keyboard. You can press 1 to control the vertices. You can press 2 to control the edges. If you move the edge, you move the edge and you get your shape controlled like this. And then we have faces. If I select a face and then move a shape, I can like make it bigger this way or that way, or maybe just rotate it a little bit and have this like turning torso or something like this. Okay, the next option over here is inset. And the shortcuts. If you want to extrude, you can just press E on your keyboard. I'm not sure why it's not highlighted here, but trust me, if you press E, you're gonna have this thing extruded, and you can do it like in different ways. No, mostly this is just a polygonal modeling. I hope you're all familiar with this from different types of software like 3ds Max or Maya. There is nothing so special. The inset tool lets you create something like this. Actually, just insetting your faces, and you can extrude them in or extrude them out. Inset is I letter on your keyboard. Then we have this WebGL type of thing. I wonder how. Oh, you can just drag this yellow circle, yellow pin over here and modify your shape. And also, when you're using some commands, you have a window pop up over here in the lower left corner, and you have some setups over there that you can control, like some widths or segments, and you make this like more round corners over here, and different other setups. Okay, extrusion is done, inset is done, WebGL is done. This loop cut thing helps you to add polygons to your model in various ways, depends on your needs, so you can subdivide it. And you can control the number of subdivisions over here in your lower left corner with a pop-up window. Then we have this knife tool, which is a section creating tool. You can create something strange like this, for example, and cut a hole in your model. If you then go and select those faces, you can delete, select faces, and you have a hole in your model. This thing looks like a plane now to me. Don't know what it looks like. Reminds me of a plane. Okay, these are some basic tools in edit mode that we have. And if I delete this, let me add a sphere, for example. What we have here on the right, one tab I already described to you with location, rotation, scale, and stuff like this. The next tab we have is called for modifiers. You have, Blender has a fantastic feature. It has a lot of different kind of modifiers, and they are all for different tasks. And you can create rigid body collision. You can simulate water, simulate fluids, smoke, and stuff like that. You can deform your objects. And I like this one. It's called wave, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, if you just select this modifier and then press space on your keyboard, you have the animation started and your sphere will start moving like this, and you have a lot of controls over here. Okay, let me check the message. Come on, up, up, up. Okay, so these modifiers are pretty powerful. You can like tune the height of your wave, the width of your wave, the narrowness, and basically you can have different options over here. Now you can make this just jump up and down, up and down. And okay, let's stop it. Of course, you can just move those this blue thing over here along the this panel with the frames, and each frame will create a unique position for your 3D geometry, and maybe you'll see something funny. Now let's talk a bit about polygons. Now we see that our sphere is really low poly, and we see every face, and probably you want it to be more high poly. So option number one is to add another modifier, which is called subdivision, and you want to add it before your wave, for example, and you can like just add polygons to your 3D models and it will be more smooth. Sometimes this may be okay. For example, if you're modeling like ground surface and you want it to be, you don't want it to have a lot of polygons and you need to make, for example, displacement on this ground surface. You want to create stones and sticks and stuff like that. And for that, for displacement map to work on this type of surface, you need a lot of polygons. You can apply this modifier and you can control levels of subdivision in viewport and in render. You can make more levels in render so that your model is pretty simple for you to operate in viewport, and it's easy for your computer. But then when you render, you have a lot of really smooth model. Let me press render, for example, right now. It's okay. It's F12. I don't know about this green eye. Small seems like okay. I don't know why is it happening. So mostly what you can compare now, the model in your viewport and the model on your render. You can just click render image. It's F12. I know what is happening. Okay. So now you see that in render, the model is more subdivided than in your viewport. But we are not going to do this way. If you want smooth models in your viewports, this modifier won't be good for our for what we need to do. We don't want to use it. You can just click object over here and select shade smooth, and you can see that your object became smooth in your viewport as well, but it has the same amount of polygons. And how to check the polygons? You have different options of showing your geometry in your viewport. They are located over here in the top right corner of your screen. The first one is wireframe mode, and you can see all the polygons over here. And the second one is just a second. I see some questions over here. Let me check them. Okay, so we are back. The second way of displaying your geometry here is just like this white geometry. It will not display any materials or any textures that you have applied. And the third way of displaying your geometry will display the materials but in a pretty simple way. So for example, if you want to apply a material, you need to go to the material tab over here. Just select your object with left click and go to here to material properties. and you can press new over here, or we have one material already here, which is called material. And for example, it's white now, and you want to change the color. You just press the color and start changing it. And here we have a purple something. You have different properties of this material. Okay. Can we enter numeric values to move object, for example, like in Rhino? Yes, of course, you can do that. You can, like, for example, select move, and either you like type this location here, or you can press, for example, if you're using the shortcuts, you can press G to move. You can select the axis that you want to move along, for example, X, and then you just type like you want to move it 5 meters along the X. Type 5, press enter, and now it's moved 5 meters along the X axis. Okay, if you want to select, you press left click. If you want to add some extra options on your right click. To rotate, you have to press your mouse button, and to move your camera, your point of view, you have to press shift and your mouse wheel middle button. Okay. Okay, so materials, they're here on material tab over here. We have different types of materials. The basic one is called principled BSDF. You can change colors right here in this panel. You can change the metallicness of this material, for example. You can change the specularity and the roughness. And here I am having this completely mirror-like object. And with this shading mode, okay, you see some initial background map, just reflecting in your object. If I make this plane, I can make a new material over here, and I can rename it somehow, just like mirror, I don't know, plane, for example. Mirror plane. Hit enter, change the color, for example, yellow, change the specularity, change the roughness. Okay, you won't see your object reflecting, but you will see this some already background map reflecting. But if you choose the fourth option, you're gonna see things like this. You're gonna see shadows, you're gonna see some lights working on, but still no reflections, because this fourth option is the way you render your thing, the way you render your image, the way you render your object. And Blender has two render engines built in. The first one is called Eevee, and you can select the render setups over here on the right, the render properties tab, and you can see render engine parameter in here. You can see Eevee. Eevee is a real-time render engine, and it's not physically correct. It's not a physical type of render. Yeah, you have to set up a lot of properties here, like ambient occlusion, like bloom, screen space reflections, for example. You have to fake the reflections in your objects, and a lot of things like that, but Eevee is great for creating videos because it renders in a second. Your image will be rendered within a second, really quick. But you really have to be good with setups, especially if you want something realistic. The mirror plane step is pretty simple. Okay, I just created a plane, Shift A, select mesh, then select plane. Then I press S button on my keyboard to enlarge this plane. And then I go to material properties here and I click new. And then I type the name of my material, plane material. Okay, I change the color, I change the specular property, and I change the roughness. So now we have something like this. Okay. Another render engine over here is called Cycles. And this thing is really better because it's more physically correct. It's more soft in shadows, and the light, it calculates the way the light bounces from your objects and so on. Okay. But it takes more time, and it's different. You have different setups here. For example, you can use your CPU to render your image, or you can switch to GPU compute and use your video card to render your image. And over here, if I'm not mistaken, in preferences system, we have this CUDA option, and you can select if you have a suitable video card over here. You can select like render with the video card and with the CPU, for example. And this will enable enable for you an option to render the fastest way you can. So if your computer will render faster with video card, it will render with video card. If it will, the fastest way to render your image with CPU on your computer, it will render with CPU. So you can like combine those things together and have your images rendered pretty quick with Cycles as well, but it depends on your hardware on your computer. Okay, let's go on. And the next tab we have here is output properties. Here you can select the resolution of your image that you want to render, and you can enlarge or decrease it in percents. For example, you want 100% of this resolution, or you can have like 200% of this resolution and render this image twice as big as you have selected here. Can have aspect ratio. Over here, you can have a selection of this animation frames, how many frames you need. For example, if you're making a video maybe, and this video is supposed to be like 3 minutes long, you will need a lot more frames over here. And you can set up this here. You can also select the frame rate over here. And you also select the output file properties here if you want to select the image, for example, as a PNG file or as a JPEG file, or you need a video, MPG video or AVI video, or some other formats like Targa or TIFF or BMP, and setups for every file formats are different. And you have some more tabs over here. I'm not really using them that much. I don't think they're really important for now. Of course, if you want to go deeper in Blender, you can go to Blender documentation and read about every button that they have here. I will just try to be as quick as possible to get you ready for our workshop to prepare the 3D models for your web app. Okay, the next step is called view layer properties. Here you can add different properties depending on the engine that you have. For example, Eevee. Oh no, they're pretty the same, but no, they differ a bit. Cycles, and then I go back here. Yeah, they have different options for different render engines. You can add like mist layer to your render, for example, or a normal layer, and different type of data to your image. And then, for example, let me render this image. I have my camera over here. If you want to take a look through your camera on your object, you can press a button here or on the top right corner of your screen, and you can see that my camera is not looking at my object. I can go to camera properties, object properties tab over here, and either change its location, maybe a bit over here, change the rotation of the camera to make my object in the center. Okay, then you set up a render like this. If you change your resolution properties, for example, you need a square image, you can make the resolution you want over here, and you see this save frame changes as well. Let's go back to 1080. And I have, when camera is selected, I have special setups here for camera. I can use the focal length, like more open, a wide lens, for example, if you want to use one, or more like, okay, different setups. Just play around with the numbers and you will understand what's going on here. You can choose different types of cameras, perspective, orthographic, or even panoramic. This one is used if you need to render, for example, a 360 image, panoramic image for your web project. If you want to create a background, you can use, of course, panoramic images, and you can render one in Blender as well if you need. Well, I guess I will stick to panoramic right now. You can use this Shift X and Y just to move your camera a bit, the lens exactly of your camera. This one is suitable if you want to, I don't know, if you're rendering in interiors, and I constantly use this setups over here. If I'm rendering an interior, you'll always need to move camera up or down, and you have this clip start in case you need to, okay, see, this clips just like, you just control what your camera sees and what your camera is not seeing. So if I have this like O.1 here, and then I have something less over here, you see we are not rendering the background, we're just rendering like 12 meters in front of the camera. And if you don't want to render your background, you're gonna go somewhere here, I guess the render settings and fill, and here you check this transparent option, and then let me rotate the camera a bit. And then you see this background became checkered. This means that it will be rendered transparent. So if you save your image as a PNG, it will be transparent with transparent background. Okay, and wonderful thing Cycles has here is called denoising. So if you go back to render properties again and find the denoising panel over here and you check render, for example, viewport is not necessary. This will produce better results of your final image because it will remove the noise and things like that. Let's try render our image quickly. So if I press, if I go here, render image, this will start rendering, and it's not that noisy actually without denoising. Okay. So this is image number 1, and then you click image and save as, and you can just save your image somewhere here. Okay, test image 1, for example. You have also some setups available here, like file format, and so on and so on. Just press save as image and it will be saved. And then let's turn on the denoising over here and render the image again. And well, trust me, maybe it's not the best example here, as we don't have like too much noise in these areas, but usually you can have a lot of noise in your images, and this denoising tool like helps you a lot. And you have this setups over here, like render and the amount of samples, number of samples to render for each pixel. So the more number you have here, the more smooth your image will be, the less noise it will have. But the more time it will take you to render this image. Okay, image, save as, test image 2, save this image. Okay, let me go to my folder. Okay, this is without the denoising. This is with the denoising. Actually, I don't see any difference right now, but that's just believe me that this helps a lot. Okay, now we know how to add stuff. Now we know how to remove stuff. Now we know how to edit it. We know about modifiers. We know about materials. This option over here, world properties, helps you to set up your background. For example, if you wanted to be brighter or less bright, like to set up your environment lighting of your scene, the strengths of this. And also you have different kind of shaders over here available for your background. And you have different options of color over here that you can use just color, for example. Also, you can have this black body thing, which lets you control the temperature of your light and the strength. So you can just like type the brightness and the warmth of the light that you want to have, and it's pretty the same as you have when you're buying an LED lamps, for example. You either have warm LED light or more cold one, and so on, and you control this with the temperature. Another great option here is sky texture. You can control different aspects here, like sun elevation, sun rotation, altitude, sun intensity, sun size, strength of it, and so on. And this helps you to have let me remove this transparent thing here, go away from the camera, and this helps you have like this like really sunny day and some darkness over here where there is no sun, and some hemisphere light over here. So again, this may be useful in some other projects, but not today, not for us. Nevertheless, I will show you this. Okay, let's select our object and go to shading tab, for example. Now, this tab is made for you to create materials using nodes. Nodes is like in Grasshopper, when you create geometry using nodes, the same thing in 3ds Max, for example, if you're familiar with it, you can create materials using nodes, and the same thing is in Blender. You can create materials using nodes, and you can just press Shift-A to add different kind of nodes, different shader types, textures, colors, modify them, and so on and so on. For example, let's create a simple material with a texture on it using nodes. What we will need, first of all, we will need a texture node. I will choose image texture, as I have one on my computer. You just click open over here, then go to your textures folder, choose your texture. I have like a recycled plastic one, and plug this color output in this base color input, and voila, we have our texture applied to our object. Let me make it less metallic so that you could see it better. So this is how our texture is applied right now. You can choose different modes of applying your texture, like box, for example, and this will be applied differently. You need some more nodes for this to work correctly, like Shift-A, input, and then texture coordinate to generate texture coordinates on your object, then Shift-A, vector mapping to create UVW mapping. Then you connect generated with vector, choose texture here instead of point, and then plug this vector in here. And you have, well, something better. You can control like how your texture is applied in X direction, in Y direction, and in Z direction, and you can make it smaller. Okay. And then, for example, you want to combine your texture with a color applied on top of it. I will tell you how to get rid of these artifacts here later. Okay, so you need another shader. The one is called Mix Shader, if I'm not mistaken. You will need a color, for example, like a gamma, and you will need something like Mix RGB. Yeah, you can, well, I guess we can try it like this. Okay, so this color over here goes here. Then you can have like, you don't need this node, for example. You can just select another color over here. Let it be the blue one. And the final color is here. And I have the blue tint on my texture now. Then you can control this, the amount of color with this vector thing. And you also have different options how to apply your color. You can use like darken, for example, mode, and it will produce one result. multiply. This is like in Photoshop when you have these layers overlaid on top of each other, and you have like different layer options. Soft light. Okay. Screen. Okay, pretty. Lighten. Color dodge. You just play around with the setups and you get different results. Sometimes pretty unusual. If we add a metallic to this, you get something crazy. Okay. Though this is basically, you don't need this one. This is basically how you create materials with nodes. All right, and let me show you this compositing feature as well. You just need to check this use nodes here, and we have nodes as well. We can add, for example, output node like viewer here, just connect image here and image here, and we have our render. And for example, you want to add some effect, filter, I don't know, glare, for example, you just put it here. And you have like this effect applied to your render. You can use different kind of things, different kind of setups over here. For example, yeah, like you can create different glitches like this. Just experiment with the setups, some fog glow applied to your render, and then when you render your image, these effects will be applied, and you will have your final image already applied with post-production using this compositing tab and again different nodes. There are a lot of different options for different situations. This is just a quick example what you can get and how you can use them for your final image. All right, now we have like 55 minutes left. Let me go back here and let's model something suitable for our tasks. I don't need this collection over here. Probably I don't need the light over here. The camera is not necessary as well, as we are not going to use it. Okay, let me just create a cube and imagine that I'm going to create a modular, I don't know, structure, a modular pavilion. And my modular structure is going to be made of modules like this. I will hit my tab key to get to edit mode to be able to modify this cube. I will use this face selection or just press number 3 on your keyboard. And then I will select the face I don't need. I will delete this. I will delete this face as well. And I will delete this face as well. Okay, let me start with something like this. Then I would like to make a loop subdivision, maybe not just one, but maybe 2. And some subdivision here. And maybe I want to move this a bit over here, like 0.5. And the same here, 0.5. Oh, no, the other direction, and this here, minus 0.5. All right, then I will delete the faces that I don't need. I'm just experimenting right now. I don't have anything made up in my head. Okay, I have this shape right now. I'd like to connect this edge over here and this edge over here. Then I need to select this edge over here and this edge over here. Then I go edge, bridge, edge loops, and I have a polygon connecting them. The same thing goes over here and over here, edge, bridge, edge, loops, here and here, edge, bridge, edge, loops. Okay, now probably what you're gonna have here is maybe sometimes you will need to remove duplicating vertices, for example. To make this, you just switch to vertex selection. You can press A to select all the vertices on your model. And then you can press M, merge, and you can select by distance. And here you have the distance control. Okay, if you have larger distance, your vertices start to merge together. Now there is nothing to merge, everything is pretty fine. Okay. Then what you can do is, for example, you want to make these edges a bit smoother. You can select your wire, turn on your wireframe mode, select these edges, for example, and go edge, BWL edge, and have something like this. Maybe not 11 segments to 1 is just fine, not this distance, but maybe 0.15 is fine. And now we have a shape like this, something like this. Well, actually, I don't like it. Okay, let's try to apply a modifier here, like switch to object mode back and have a subdivision surface applied. Make sure you have your exact amount of levels you need selected. All right, we have a shape like this. I think it looks cool, so I will go on developing this thing. I can press no, I don't need. You can press apply here, for example, and this modifier will be applied to your objects, and you will not be able to modify it later if it's necessary. Or you can just like have a bunch of modifiers applied here and then just tune them one by one any moment you want. Okay, so let's create some thickness for this thing. Let's go back to edit mode, hitting your tab button. Let's select all the faces. Like, okay, you have like this one face selected, just hit A on your keyboard and you have all the faces selected. And here you have a different option for extrusion, extrude along normals, for example. And you can have something like this, or go the other direction, for example, and you have some thickness on your shape. Like here you can specify how thick you want it to be, like I should go with minus 0.15, for example. And this looks like this. All right, let me make different copies of it and Control-C, Control-V, GX, no, GY, okay. And I will have this thing extruded over here, for example, minus 0.15. Yes, like this. Hit tab and I have object shape smooth, and now we have this thing smooth. If you want these edges to be sharp, you have to go to edit mode you have to select those edges. So hit edges here or press 2 on your keyboard. Select all the edges you want to be sharp. If you want to select a loop of edges, you can press Alt and then click, or Alt, Shift, and then click. Make sure you are selecting all those edges that needs to be sharp. Okay, okay. Okay, now they are selected. Okay, yeah, we have those two loops selected. Right click and choose Mark Sharp over here. And then they're supposed to be sharp. All right. Another thing you can do when they are selected is hit Mark Seam. Maybe this will, no. All right. I don't know why they are not sharp here. Supposed to be. All right. All right. Okay, let's go on. Let me apply a material. Let it be a new material with just a simple texture on top of it. I click here, I select image texture, I open my texture, let it be plastic again. All right, and I have something like this. Then I go to shading. I have my object here, and I need to add texture coordinate. I need to add mapping node. Plug it here, plug it here. You need texture, you need box. And now I can control like 05 here, 05 here, 05 here. And for example, I want to make these polygons here made of another material. I just press tab. I just need to select those polygons. Okay. Press Alt and click the polygon. It will select the loop of polygons. And then I'm gonna hit, okay, this is gonna be called plastic. Okay, I'm gonna hit plus here, create new material, and I'm gonna call it black metal, for example. I change the color to black here. It can be metallic or not. And then I click assign with my polygons selected. Then I press tab and voila, I have different material applied here. And I can hit face and shade smooth with my faces selected. And all right. Still something not very good happening. Okay, we have a question. Okay, a question. Okay, recorded and will be shared. Yes, the lecture is recorded and I think it will be shared. I hope it will be available online on YouTube. So you will be able to rewatch this live stream later. Okay, so now this is my first module ready, for example. I think so. Okay, I have a texture applied to it. I have different materials applied to it. And let's get it ready for our browser. What you need to do is go File, Export. First of all, you make sure that your the coordinates of your module are 0, 0, 0 here, your rotation is 0, 0, 0, 0, and your scale is 1, 1, 1. Because if it's not, it will cause difficulties later in JavaScript. When you are exporting your model, make sure they are located at 0, 0, 0 position, they have 0, 0, 0 rotation, and they have 1, 1, 1 scale. If it's not, for example, you moved it and changed it somehow, you can press Control A and reset like location, rotation, and scale. For example, I have this location over here. I press Control A and press location, and now it has its how do you call it, origin point in 0, 0, 0, 0. But when I try to rotate this object, you see what happens. We don't want this to happen in the browser. That's why we have to position our modules exactly at this 0, 0, 0. Like you have to, how you can check this? You can press set origin to the center of mass, for example. You have this origin over here. Then you can, in your location tab, type 0, 0, 0, and your module is now in 0 point, ready for exporting. Okay, so let's export this piece over here. You go to File, Export, select GLB over here, include selected objects only. You don't want to select all 10 modules in one file. You need only one module that is selected over here. And then you go to some folder you have created. I have already one. I've been testing a lot today. And you press your, you name your file any way you want, like part1, for example, and press export. It is exported. If there is an error message, for example, I don't know, text me. I had an error message today, and I have to use another version of Blender, like 2.92, to export my models. Or just save your Blender file and click restart. Okay, let me save this, by the way. Digital Fusers, okay. Modules, examples. Okay, now my Blender file is saved. So you exported your GLB file, and what you want to do is to check how it is viewed in your browser with Three.js libraries that we're going to use. You're gonna Google GLTF viewer, go to any link you want. There are 3 available. Yeah, I usually use the first one, and you have this drag and drop option over here. You go to a folder, export part1, and you just drag it over here, and voila, you have your module in your window, in your browser, and you have different options over here, like lighting and even performance. How many frames per second do you have here? So you can remove like some lights, you can choose environment lighting, for example, and add lights and so on. Play around with those setups and see how your model is looking in your browser. And we have strange things here, but we don't have them here. What you need to do to get rid of those mistakes is you need to make a UV unwrapping properly. So you go to UV editing panel. You're gonna select everything over here. You're gonna go to UV here and press unwrap, or just hit U. Now it is unwrapped. Probably you want to create some more seams on your model. This is like, try to imagine how you would create your model out of paper. How would you create this 3D shape out of paper? You will need some parts. You will need them unwrapped. on the flat sheet of paper, and then you will need them to be folded and assembled together in your final 3D shape. This is the logic that stands behind the unwrapping. So just select some more edges if you need. Depends on the geometry you're doing. I will select those edges, for example, and maybe this. Okay, and this. Okay, and mark seam, they are supposed to be red. Then you press A to select everything, and here in the left part of your screen you press U, unwrap, and everything unwrap. Your model is divided into pieces, and they are located over here. There is no, do not look at this texture, for example, right now. It's not necessary. So when you do this, Control S and File, export GLTF, and part 1, okay, part 2, export your model again, export, okay, go to your folder, check your next model, part 2, and what do we have here? Okay, and now you see that the texture is applied better. You see those seams, you don't see any stretchers no more. If you want to get rid of those seams, just get rid of them in your geometry. And this is like iterative process. So you make something, you check, you don't like, you improve. Okay. Another thing you usually do when you are applying those maps and UV unwrapping and so on, you want to create an unwrapped texture for your object. Now we have multiple materials applied to it. Yeah, maybe we can have like more material. Let me just check. Maybe if I hit here, what will I use? Okay, okay. Let me select this. Yeah, no, not working. How many polygons do I have here? Okay, I'd like to select, no, this 4 polygons over here and apply emissive material over here. I press plus, I click new. I rename my material as light. I go to this shader types over here, check emission, and hit assign, and I have this emissive material on my object. Then I change like the light color and the intensity of it. For example, if that emissive, okay, background sky texture, okay, let it be gamma, let it be, yeah, we have our emissive material applied. What we need to do in UV editing here, we need to mark seam those edges as well, contours, hit mark seam like this. Okay, then you hit A, hit U, unwrap over here, and those are my light polygons over here. Okay, now I want to maybe bake all the lighting here in Blender to my 3D model that I will be using in browser. You can create lights in browser with Three.js library, but lights are expensive and for your computer. We're going to use some lighting, really simple, but if you want something photorealistic, something really complicated and complex in your browser, sometimes you will need to bake all the lights within your 3D software. Now we are using Blender. What you need to do is go to shading, press Shift A, and no, first you're gonna need this UV editing. You have to select, you're gonna click new over here and create new image. I will name it module texture, for example. Select the size of it. The smaller the texture, the easier it is for your computer to load this and for your internet to load this. I usually stick to 512 or 256 pixels. Press OK. Now we have new texture. You go to shading. You press Shift A here. Add image texture, select your module texture over here and leave it like that, just like that. You can press Ctrl C to copy it, go to another material that you have applied, Ctrl V and paste it over here, go to another material applied to your model, Ctrl V to paste it here. And now if you go to render setups and your cycles engine is chosen here, you have this bake panel and you have this bake button. You click bake and all the lights, all the everything is being baked in your texture. Let me see this. All right. Everything is baked. Okay, I don't have enough lighting over here. The scene is really dark, yeah, and that's why it's dark from those parts, for example. Then I need to save this texture, save as module texture. Okay. Okay, I already have this file. Okay, let's name it module texture 3, for example, save as image, and then I need to go here, go to my material, create new material, new, call it module material, for example, apply a texture here, open, and I have my module texture selected here. And then I press tab, select everything and click assign. Okay, and see, I have all those lights applied to my model. This is a funny glitch over here. This is not supposed to be like this. I'm not sure why this happened. All right. Anyways, you get the idea. Now you have the model with the texture applied, and probably this is the low resolution of the texture. That's because of this, and maybe you need to, yeah, this is really some mistake. Okay, I can face. All right. You can try to create a new image, for example, increase the resolution if you want. Call it module 2, for example, and press OK. Go to shading. Remove this material over here. Here you're gonna need this module 2 texture. Go to another material over here. Choose module 2 texture. Go to another material over here. This will not work as we have all our materials disconnected. Okay, let's go back. Leave it like this and try to create another texture. Okay, module texture. Okay, module texture. Okay, new. Let it be 2024, 1024. By 2024, you get this module 2. Press OK, go to shading, add texture, image texture, pick your module 2, Control C. Okay, you need to delete this. Okay, module 2 here, slot 2, module 2 here, and slot 1, module 2 here. All right, then we click bake, and the baking starts, and we need to choose module 2 over here. You can see the progress over here. Yes, and you may get something more detailed. I'm not sure. We have denoising and so on and so on. So basically, how you get this is how you get the textures unwrapped for your model. You can maybe improve some lighting situations over here and hit bake again, and see what will happen with your texture. The larger the texture, the more expensive it in terms of your computer. And all right. Sometimes it's not working, you have to make a new texture. Anyways, then you apply it to your object. Let's create new material, module. Okay, apply some texture to it. Open. Okay, press tab, click assign, it is applied. And you can modify your texture then in Photoshop if you want to, and then you can export again GLB, let it be part 3, export, and okay, part 3, and here is the texture. Okay, applied, baked texture applied to it. Really looking strange. I will see what I can do with this. I'm not sure why this is happening. All right, this is with the cube, for example. This option, I can make some holes in it. For example, if I click tab, then I click E, and then I make some inset. I click individual here, and I can have something like this. Then I can press delete faces and have a shape like this. Select everything and get some thickness. Okay, like this, for example. Be careful with the distances. Okay, I think something is not selected as if, yeah, hit A, and then we have something like this. Yeah, apply some material like this, for example, let it be, okay. Move it to the center, like 0. Just you can switch off your objects in the scene with this eye thing here, and you can also choose this render camera feature here and remove it from the camera as well, so that way you won't see it in render. You can just remove it from viewport, but render it still the same, and you can remove it both in viewport and in render. And now you can go file, export, GLTF, let it be part 4, I don't know, not really interesting, and check the file size. For example, this previous part 3 was 200 kilobytes, and this with holes and more polygons in it is 1 megabyte already. You want your parts to be as low as possible. Something wrong with the texture again, but at least it's shiny. Okay, have to check the colors and the texture applied here, but we have holes, and it's metallic. Okay, this is why you need to bake your textures for your models, mostly because you will have troubles like this. Like in Blender it looks like this, and then in browser it looks like this, and you don't understand what happened. If you bake all the textures and apply one texture to your model, everything should be working correctly. Should be the keyword here. Okay, I'd like to show you some modeling tips. For example, if you want to create pipes or some structures like this, you can add a plane. For example, hit tab, select a couple of vertices on your plane, and then delete it. Delete vertices. Okay, you have 2 vertices left. Select just one and try extruding it along X, for example, in -1, and then extrude along Z with 1, and then extrude along Y with, don't know, 1, then extrude along X with -1, and then extrude along Z with -1. Okay, you get a shape like this. It's a line, but in terms of Blender, it's still a mesh. What you can do later, you can select those vertices except the start and end point of your line. You can go to vertex, bevel vertices, and you have this window. You have option to make it look like this. You can increase the number of segments, and now you have a curvy line like this. Then if you hit object, convert to curve, now it's a curve, it's not a mesh anymore. You have curve options available here. It's a, if you check 3D curve here, you have this geometry option here. You have 3 options. For example, this round option and the depth of it. You can like type the section size, for example, and you can increase the resolution as well. You can object shade smooth to make it look smooth like a pipe, real pipe, and you can check fill caps, for example. Another option here is to create like a section. For example, I'd like to add a circle, make it small, move it a little bit over here. Then I'd like to add another circle and make it a bit smaller over here, and maybe add another circle, make it smaller again, and move it over here. Then I'd like to join all those circles, Control G and Control J, and they're joined in one geometry. Then here I choose my line, I choose object, and in objects over here I can see my joined circles. Here they are. And if I select them, I have this kind of thing. Yeah, but then you must be careful with these parts over here. Probably you need to change something. All right. Then after you're ready with your shape like this, of course you can apply materials. I don't know, Okay, let it be yellow. You can go again, object, convert, mesh. And now it's a mesh. And now you can go export, GLTF, and call it, I don't know, another part 5 export. Check it in your browser over here. Okay, now I have this shiny yellow mesh in my browser. By the way, you can hit auto rotate here and install. It will start rotating automatically. All right. One more thing that I would like to show you is geometry nodes, a new feature in Blender. Hit Control S. Okay, you can choose like geometry node editor over here, for example, in any window that you would like to. You can make it like this and select your object, click new, and then you have 2 basic nodes added here. Well, this feature is in active development right now. You can find more and more tutorials on YouTube and see what other people are doing over there. They create fun things. What we will try to do is we will try to scatter cubes, scatter this small cube along 1 hour pipes. Okay, so I have my cube over here. I scaled it down. I want to like reset his scale and let it be 111. Location is fine, I guess. I select my tubes. I hit Shift A here. Select point, distribute. Geometry connects with geometry, random points, and if you hit it like this, you see some points added, and what you preview is basically the points over here. All right, I want to add a cube in every point on my geometry. So I hit select here, select my cube, it's called cube 002. And if I want to see both of my objects, pipes and cubes as well, I have to hit Shift A, geometry, join geometry, geometry, this one and this one. And now I see cubes and my pipes. And this way you scatter objects. If you want some random cubes, you go to attribute, randomize, place it between your point distribute and point instance nodes. What kind of attribute you want to randomize, you have to type scale here from 0.2, for example, to 3, for example, and you have like random cubes across your geometry. The only thing now, as far as I understand, is that you cannot export this geometry. If, for example, if I try to export this as part 6, let's see what happens. Let's go over here, or nothing. I don't see any cubes here. If I try to say nodes are a modifier, well, what if I click apply? Oh yeah, I have to click apply, and then my cubes will be merged with my pipes. And all right, then you have to press apply and it will be merged together. Then you can get file like export part 7 export and go here. Yeah, and you have some cubes scattered across your geometry. This is just an example of using geometry nodes in Blender. You don't have to model your modules like that. You can use any technique you want. You can use extruding. You can use sections following the curves, and so on and so on. You can use any 3D software that you want to use. You're more familiar with Rhino, go with Rhino. If you're more familiar with Maya, go with Maya. If you're okay with Blender, go with Blender. The only thing you need to do is to import your model, make sure that it is located in X, Y, and Z 0. It has no rotation applied to it, and the scale of this model is 1:1:1. And then you just have to file, export GLTF. And this is it for now. This is it for today. If you have some questions, feel free to ask them. Okay. What you really have to do today is to understand what kind of app you want to do, what kind of modules do you want to have, how many. Let's not make 10 modules. Let's stick to maybe 3 modules in our app. And probably, if you know what kind of app you're going to design, a residential building of modular apartments, are you going to design some pavilion structures, or I don't know, something else? Just try sketching the modules that you want to use and then modeling them. You will not need them tomorrow, because tomorrow we will be building a user interface of our app and learning HTML and CSS. So you will have tomorrow to model your modules and kits and parts. You will need them the day after tomorrow, definitely, because that day we're going to import them in our part. How can you select cubes on a line after function apply? After we applied those modifier. Well, actually, this is now one geometry. So if you want to select this and just click on it, this is one geometry. So cubes became polygons of your initial model. The only way to select them is to select polygons of those cubes. Actually, now they are selected. If they are selected, you can right click and, for example, choose separate here, separate selection. And this will create a new object. Just hit tab, and now your cubes are separate from your initial pipes, and you can, like, I don't know, apply different material to them. I don't know, let there be shiny and okay, lighting, okay, okay. Let's create some darkness over here. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is funny, at least. A little bit crazy and sci-fi, but wonderful. Just some LED lights. Everybody loves LED lights, and some Christmas spirit over here. Okay, can we share a link with our modules from GLTF viewer? What do you mean by sharing a link? This GLTF viewer thing is not loading your models anywhere. This just works in your browser, so you can't like upload a model here, copy an address over here and send it somewhere else. No, this won't work. They will open this link and see nothing, because this GLTF viewer just works in your browser. It works just only on your computer, and you cannot share the models uploaded here from your computer somewhere else, because to make this, you need to use server and upload your model to a server, and we will be doing this tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. I hope that I understood the question correctly. Thank you, Kirill. Looks nice. All right, I can stop sharing my screen for now. Okay, so if you have any questions, we can upload on the mesh type of geometry. Yes, only meshes, no NURBS, no NURBS surfaces, nothing like that. We are going to use Three.js library, and this GLTF viewer that I was showing you is using the same library. So you can view your models the way they will be displayed in your web app, and the way you can tune the lighting and stuff like that for those models in your app. Three.js is built on top of WebGL technology. WebGL is a technology to render 3D models in your browser. And WebGL uses triangles. All the models are divided into triangles. They are not even using quads like many other 3D modeling software working with meshes, for example. So only triangles and only meshes. If you're creating your module using NURBS geometry, you have to export it in, when you export it in GLB format, it will be automatically converted to mesh. So no NURBS. Can we import Rhino models into Blender? Yes, of course. You can import Rhino models into Blender. Just export your Rhino model in OBJ format, for example, in OBJ file. And then you can import OBJ inside Blender. Or you can import FBX as well, and some other file formats. Just check the file format supported by Blender for importing, and export the model in from Rhino, Maya, 3ds Max, etc. in the file format that suits you and is supported by Blender. And one more thing, do not, I recommend you do not model your parts in millimeters. Just use meters, like 1 meter, 2 meters, and so on. Do not use like 1,000 millimeters, because in Three.js they use units, and if you model in millimeter, this means that you'll have to create 1,000 of units to display your geometry, and it just gets too big. Scale it down to meters and model using meters. Anyways, I guess if you export your model to GLB and check it with GLTF viewer, there is some mistake, you will definitely see this mistake. And probably the one is going to be with the scale. Try rotating your, hitting auto rotate, this checking this auto rotate checkbox, and watch how your model is rotating. Is it rotating around its center? Is it the point of rotation is okay and fine for you? Of course, if there are some issues, then check the coordinates of the origin point of your model, and maybe you will need to update them. All right, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I suggest that we finish our Blender tutorial for today. I hope it was interesting and great for you. If you have more questions, you know where to ask them. Just feel free, send us a message if you have some questions. All right. So I think that I will stop our live YouTube video right now. And goodbye to everyone watching us live on YouTube. See you tomorrow the same time. If you want to find the links for translations, I guess you should follow us, SailUp in social media and Instagram, and we will post the links there, because I'm not sure about this Digital Futures platform. Somehow our links are not working there. Some mistakes are happening, and probably the best way to follow us is to find those links is to follow us on Instagram and other social media. Thank you for being here with us, and bye-bye.